Oh, and also when you type in the chat, make sure you're typing to everyone and not just the panelists to ensure that everyone can see your messages.
Hey Stephanie, how are you?
Hey, Damon, I'm well. I guess I'll turn on my camera as well. Looks like we have people coming in, all kinds of people joining us today.
Coming in, filtering
Yeah.
in. It's still a little early. I thought I'd jump on here early, but we're good.
Yeah, well, I like to be extremely on time. That's something that I pride myself in. So, and I
Yeah,
see that
well, I
we
hear
had
you.
a few early joiners, and for anyone that happens to join late or maybe has to leave early, don't worry, we're recording this and we're going to send everybody a copy of the recording. So, don't feel like you're going to miss out on anything if you have to go see to some business somewhere else.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That reminds me of one of my very early managers, Stephanie, and he would say, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late.
Well, I think for me, it goes back to being in Toronto, and you always have to plan for traffic being terrible. So I would always leave extremely early for everything,
Yeah,
just
I
to
can
be
tell you
safe.
it's no better in the GTA these days. It's pretty crazy. Even just to get in from the West End into the office, it's taking me like an hour to an hour and a half every time.
Painful,
Yeah,
painfully
it is
slow.
painful.
All right.
But that's the life in the GTA here if you want to commute.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Not as
Oh,
many
looks
people
like
are working from home.
yeah, looks like Amin and Sandy, they've got beautiful days out in the West Coast.
It's always beautiful out there.
I know, must be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. All right. So I see it is now 1 p.m. So, as mentioned, I love being punctual, and I know you guys do too. You're busy people. We're not going to keep anyone waiting. So let's get started. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. So, for those of you who didn't hear my introduction earlier, I'm Stephanie Gelman. I'm the product manager of our online leads program with Royal LePage Canada. And that program is called Smart Leads. And today I'm joined by Damon Conrad, our national director of the Royal LePage Commercial Division. And we are here to discuss the launch of the new Royal LePage commercial website, how it connects with Smart Leads, and what this means for you as a commercial member agent. So thank you so much for joining me today, Damon.
My pleasure. This is really exciting times for us. I know we've been getting a lot of inquiries. We had our coffee chat on Wednesday. There are a bunch of questions around that. So I know the entire network's pretty excited about this.
Perfect. Okay, so a few just kind of general logistics before we get into everything. So as you can see, lots of folks have been saying hi to the in the chat. Please do that. Tell us how things are going, where you're joining us from. Make sure you have it set to everyone or all participants. To save bandwidth, please keep your camera off and your microphone muted during this session. You can put any questions or comments that you have in the chat. And the session will be recorded. So, like I said, if you have to leave at some point, don't worry. We're going to send this out to you and you can watch it over and over and over again.
So heart's
So,
content as many times as you want.
absolutely. Okay, so this is specifically what we're going to be going over today. So, what is Smart Leads? Because you might not be familiar with that. We're going to talk about the newly launched commercial website. What kinds of leads you, as commercial agents, can receive through Smart Leads. Then we'll get into some specifics about like how Smart Leads works, such as how the leads are sent to you, how they integrate into our in-house CRM, RLP Sphere. And then building from that, we're going to go over some main keys to closing leads, how to use smart campaigns to maximize your conversion, and then what you're going to do with your leads once you're actually talking with them. Then we'll wrap it all up with a few important points about statistics, and then we'll give you some recommended next steps to get you started. Can I get a hurrah?
Sounds great.
Yeah, right. It's going to be fun. It's a lot. And we're packing a lot into this hour. So Smart Leads is the industry's best performing, most comprehensive end-to-end online lead management solution that marries best practices with technology in RLP sphere, where it automates your activities and exponentially improves your conversion rates. Okay, so Smart Leads, really, it's the name of our national online leads program. And it really, it includes all consumer inquiries coming from our national site, royallepage.ca, and now royallepagecommercial.com. Over to you, Damon.
Thanks, Stephanie. So obviously, for those of you that were on Coffee Chat, you're familiar with this. You've seen some of the emails that we sent out. So very exciting time. Stephanie and Kelly have been putting in an immense amount of work behind the scenes. As you know, for those of you who have stayed in touch with Steph and I, we've been working behind the scenes to get the website updated, which took candidly a little bit longer than we had hoped, but finally got done. We're very happy with aesthetically how it looks, the functionality, the user friendliness. Everything seems to be just working perfectly. Minor bugs have been fixed so far. Phase 2 is launching, I believe, Steph, on the 3rd. Is that correct? Is that the actual date? I see the email just went out, but that's April 3rd, right?
Yeah, April 3rd on Monday, it'll be live.
April 3rd, it will be live. So all things are moving ahead, full steam ahead in terms of the website. We'll be continuing to make improvements as we roll out new phases. We did take some of your feedback to IT from Coffee Chat on Wednesday. Thank you very much for those that were there. And now this is the exciting part. This is really the next step in terms of it's not necessarily our sandbox. Stephanie is really the gatekeeper and the guru of all things smart leads. So Stefano and I, it's not we're not in the trenches, so we don't see it day in and day out. So we wanted to get a call for all of you who are interested, set up with Stephanie, so we get an understanding of what that's going to look like.
Yeah, perfect. I think, you know, what is really exciting for the new site is for the first time, DDF listings will be on the commercial site. That's one huge difference. The old commercial site didn't have that. And so what this means,
and actually, Stephanie, I don't think we realized just how huge a difference it was. We were on an update call from IT yesterday, and let's say, for argument's sake, that our site through all of our commercial members had 1,000, 2,000 listings. IT just confirmed with the new DDF, we're gonna have 50,000 listings on our site.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so this really brings me into nicely what kind of leads that people can receive from Smart Leads, and specifically the kind of leads that come from listings. Okay, so we have two kinds of leads. We call one kind designated. These are ones from your own listings. And if you've been with RLP for a while, I'm sure you've received a designated lead or two at some point. The new ones that will be coming from royallepagecommercial.com are distributed leads. So these are ones from the DDF IDX feed. They're competitor listings hosted on our website. So we're super, super excited to have those opportunities for you as commercial agent members.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah. Now, there's also another kind of designated lead that are called designated contact me. You've been eligible to receive these on royallepage.ca. Every agent has an agent page there, and you can see an example of what that looks like on the left of this page. On the new royallepagecommercial.com, you also have a designated contact me. So these are beautiful. Make sure that you complete your profile on the RLP network, because that is where all of this information is fed from. Okay, so make sure you have an up-to-date headshot, please. All of your specialties and all of your areas serviced, okay? And if you need any help completing your profile, you just reach out to customer care and they're going to tell you how to do it, okay? So yeah, so super exciting. 2 sources of designated contact me leads now, okay? So before I
Yeah.
really get into, sorry, Damon, did you want to comment on that?
Well, I was just going to say, and the other thing we haven't touched on yet also is the change in terms of the fact that the commercial leads from the parent website will now be distributed through the commercial program members as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to get into some details about how Smart Leads works in a second, but just to kind of break the ice, I want everyone to understand a few basics about online leads, because like Damon said, I've been doing the online leads things for a while, and we've learned a lot over the past few years, such as leads need fast response and continuous nurturing to close. Okay. So, for example, did you know that you're 100 times more likely to contact a lead if you respond to them within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes? Did you know that leads often convert? And when we say convert, that means reply to one of your messages. Somewhere between the second and the 12th contact attempt, but sometimes it takes even more than that. Okay. And leads can be 6 months or more away from transacting. So in Smart Leads, what we've done is we've combined best practices with automation to help increase your conversion and your close rates. Okay, I see some comments in the, I see a comment about, do we have a drip system now? A question from Steve, and you do, and I'm going to tell you about that really soon. I love you're reading my mind, Steve. Okay, so how does Smart Leads work specifically? The leads offers are sent to you by email and text. Okay. And in the lead offer, you don't see a whole lot of info. You just see some basic information in the form of what we call tags. And that will include the general area in which they're looking at a property, as well as the lead type. So for example, in these ones, you're going to see the tag commercial. Okay. Then after you accept your lead, that's when you get an email with all the details about who that lead is. And that includes their contact information, as well as the listing they've asked about, any specific questions or messages they've included, and a little summary of what other listings they've been browsing at while on the websites, because we gather that information. Okay, so under all of that info, you're going to see a nice big ribbon, button, whatever you want to call it. When you click on that, you're going to be brought right away into RLP Sphere. And that's where you're going to find that your lead has been automatically entered, because everything is synced automatically. You don't have to enter anything manually, okay? I see a comment from Brenton here. We've had a quite good success with residential Smart Leads with a small group of dedicated agents motivated to follow up consistently with the leads. Yes, you have, Brent. Your brokerage is really, really consistently good with the leads. And I encourage anyone, I'm going to put you out there, Brent, and say, anyone reach out to Brent if you need some tips on what to do, because well, or you could just listen to this webinar because he follows the book. Perfect. So, so when you click on that button and you find your lead in Sphere, this is kind of what the page will look like. Okay, and I know there's a lot going on in this page, but basically I want to just highlight a few things here. Okay, so some key pieces of information. The bottom left-hand corner, this little section here, it tells you where it came from. And in this tiny writing, you'll see it better on your page. It says commercial distributed listing. So I know that what kind of lead it is, okay? If you have any campaigns, and I'm going to show you in a bit where to find the campaigns and how to turn them on. If you have an active campaign attached to this lead, it'll show it here and here. if there are tasks associated with the campaign, it tells you what to do next. Okay. When you want to see what's coming up in the future, you can preview them. And if you want to send a quick email to your lead, you can just click this button. Okay. So you have all these little things right at your fingertip in the lead contact page for you to use. Okay. So remember that. We'll get into a little bit more of that in a second. Okay.
Just while you're there, Stephanie, I'm not sure if you can see because you're sharing your screen, but Sandy has her hand up. I guess she has a question she'd like
Oh
to
yeah,
ask.
go for it, Sandy.
No, I just reconnected. I lost connection there for a minute. No questions. Keep going.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a little step back. And, I said some kind of general things about who are online leads, but I want you to understand a little bit more about them in detail. Okay. So we got to remember these people are typically further away from transacting. Okay. They're usually at the start of the buying process. That kind of sales funnel that we know and love. They're at the interest and desire stage. You don't have to capture their attention. They've already come to you, but they're at the interest and desire stage doing some virtual window shopping. Okay. These people can be 6 months or more away from transacting. Okay. What else do we know about them? We know that because they're often further away from transacting, they often desire anonymity. Okay. This means that they just aren't ready to talk to you yet. They don't want to be sold to. They just want to gather information. And because of this, sometimes they will omit a phone number. Sometimes they'll use a fake name or only initials. Okay. As long as the email is valid, as long as it doesn't bounce back, you should consider them a real lead and work them accordingly. Okay. And I have actually looked at the difference in conversion rates and close rates of leads without a phone number compared to those with a phone number. There is no difference in close rates when agents work the leads to their fullest. The problem is that too many people, and I'll say it right out here, impatient people will think that leads are flaky and not serious if they do not want to transact right away, or if they don't reply to your message. Okay. But you got to remember, it's not that they're flaky. It's not that they're not serious. It's just that they need more time. Okay. So be patient when working online leads.
That's a great point, Stephanie, especially in commercial, as we all know, somewhat different than the residential side. The timeline is probably even longer. So it could even take a longer curating period with your lead than it would normally.
Absolutely. Because it's usually a higher value. It's a lot more money in many cases.
So what happens, and we did have this call come up, and you might get to this, maybe I'm being premature here, but we did have this up in terms of if somebody does put in a fake phone number or if somebody does put in a fake email address, what happens with that lead at that point?
Well, then you can't contact them. So they go in the garbage bin, right? And we know, okay, and when I get to the statistics part, I'm going to talk about what you can expect to achieve when you do things right. But I'll say it right now, most of your leads are not going to close for one reason or another. And some of the reasons will be because it's an invalid contact information. Okay. And that's just kind of par for the course. Okay. Online leads often fill out multiple forms, 3 to 5 forms on average. Okay. And anywhere between 35 and 50% of the sales will go to the first agent who responds. Okay. This is why quick response is so vital, because people are impatient. If they fill out a form and they don't get a reply quickly, they're going somewhere else and filling out another form and then another until someone gets in touch with them. Okay. So lastly, while a fast response is great, you need to actually make sure you're providing quality information to your lead. Okay. So people are really educated these days. They can find out a lot of information on their own. They need you to provide them information they can't find otherwise. You always need to remember that your responses need to communicate value and demonstrate your expertise, because really your goal is to build trust. And once you've built that trust, they will want to transact with you. Lastly, with that, you want to ensure that your online presence is tip top. And what I mean is that I can guarantee you that after you reply to a lead, one of the first things they're going to do is Google you. Okay. So make sure your online presence is an indicator of your degree of professionalism. This is another reason why you want to complete your profile on Roy LePage and Roy LePage Commercial, because those are going to rank high, if not as the first things in the Google search results. Okay. Okay.
Absolutely, Stephanie. Yeah, we've been pushing that. I know Stefano's going to be pushing it even higher, but your RLP profile, updating that, making sure it's up to date. Your LinkedIn profile, highly visible for us. We have people, unfortunately, still out there with like empty pages, potentially previous brokerages that they worked for. If you want to be perceived as a source of knowledge, as an expert in the field, you got to have these updated.
Absolutely. Okay. So remember, the online leads are a great way to get the edge on the competition, because in a lot of cases, you are accessing clients before they're ready to become clients. Okay. Remember, they may not buy something today, but they will buy something someday. And when they're ready, you want them to come to you. And how do you make sure that's going to happen? How do you keep their attention while they're figuring out their purchase timeline? You use a plan, and we've created some for you in RLP Sphere. They're called smart campaigns. People who use these know that they work. Okay. Smart campaigns are a mix of, I guess, what you could call action plans and drip campaigns. They consist of tasks that you do, some things that are automated by the system. But what they do is they save you time and they increase your chances of success because they're based on proven best practices. Okay. We know this. They make you more productive and more profitable. And specifically, I mean, okay, normal online leads close at about a 1% or less rate on average. That's 1 out of 100 typically turns into a deal with normal agent behavior. And by normal agent behavior, unfortunately, I mean that leads are replied to very slowly. So the industry average is 15 hours or more to get back to an online lead. And this is why they close at such a low rate. Okay. Well-managed leads close at 4 to 6%. I know some people who close into the double digits. Okay. But it requires work. Okay. It requires work. It's not complicated. It's like having a fitness goal. Okay. It requires daily commitment to the right things, eating healthy and exercising. Okay. And just like a fitness goal, results are not going to happen overnight, but do not give up. Okay. So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can enjoy success with your leads, but remember that to succeed, you need to follow a plan. Okay. Stick to the best practices and follow the advice of the experts, because we've done the research for you. We know what works. It's a simple formula. Okay. Be fast, be persistent, and provide value. That's it. Okay. So, said it before, I'm going to say it again and again and again. Online leads require immediate and frequent attention to convert. People are so ridiculously impatient. They expect a quick reply, even if they do not want to answer you. Okay. And like I said before, if they don't get a quick reply, they're going to fill another form and another and another. But when you reply to them quickly, you satisfy them. Okay. And then they don't have to fill out other forms. Now, while quick is good, quick is the best, no matter how much time has gone by, do not despair. Do not give up. Do not write off a lead because maybe it's a little bit old. Okay, if you're a little slow And maybe someone else reached out to the lead before you, because in their impatient, that lead filled out many forms. You still have you still have a chance of success, because you can send them quality information. You can persist with your outreach because the other guy probably won't. Okay, so you're 100 times more likely to contact a lead by responding in 5 minutes versus 30. And the greater your frequency of outreach, the better your chances of connecting. Okay, now this chart is really, really important. It's about persistence, and really from your first contact attempt and any contact attempt, there's really two ways the lead can go. Either they respond or they don't. And if they respond, then you work with them. You refine the criteria, you provide the information that they're looking for. You do what you're good at, right? But if they don't respond, don't give up. Stay persistent, okay? I said before, leads can take anywhere between 12 and 2 and 12 contacts, sometimes even more before they reply. I was talking to an agent the other day who told me he had a lead on one of our smart campaigns, and after 4 months, this person answered. He actually
Wow.
forgot that the lead existed because the system was doing everything for him. And then he got the reply and he was like, all right, now we're good to go. Okay. So, and then when and if someone says no, because they will, that's okay. It just allows you to spend more time on serious people. Okay. So the last key, right? We had speed, persistence, and the value. Like I said before, now I don't know how it differs in commercial, but I do know with the residential ones, it's extremely rare for someone to buy the house that they asked about. But it gives you an idea of what they're looking for. It'll be interesting to see, how it goes in the commercial one. But I'm gonna wager that a lot of the time their first inquiry is just giving you a taste of what they're looking for. Okay, so providing valuable information, and one of the easiest ways to do it is set them up on a search alert on properties that are similar to the one that they asked about. It's so easy, it's quick to do, and they enjoy receiving them. Okay, so always remember to do that. Now, I said before, we know that most of the leads are not going to close, okay? So that means that if you're going to be working online leads, you need to get used to hearing no or nothing at all, okay? Even our best offices and our best agents don't close most of the leads, okay? But this is why people who are efficient use automated smart campaigns, because they help you sift out the good ones from the bad ones, okay? The ones that do want to transact will reply to the message in the smart campaign. And then once the person replies, the campaign turns off, okay? The rest of the leads who don't want to transact, they're either going to unsubscribe or they'll just ignore you. Okay, so when you use the smart campaigns, it saves you time and allows you to focus your attention on the people who are serious. Okay, so let's get into a little bit how. Now, this isn't going to be like a deep tutorial on how to use the campaigns. Okay, there's different training sessions and I'll point you to those that you can go, but this is just kind of an overview. Okay, so using the smart campaigns will automate your workflow to help align all your marketing efforts and your messages and make sure that each of your leads is properly nurtured. So we have this system called RLP Sphere. It's a comprehensive system and it includes a CRM for all of you to use. Okay, you access it from the marketing tab on the RLP network. Now, what exactly are smart campaigns? I think I said before, you can think of them as like a mix of action plans, so things for you to do, and then drip campaigns, things that the system does. And things that the system can do automatically is send emails, send text, even update the status of your contact if they do certain things. a lot of it can be automated, okay? And automated nurturing campaigns, they get proven results. Now, I'm going to say one of the best things about ours is that they're all CASL compliant, okay? So that's Canada anti-spam legislation. And they have some beautifully professionally templated branded pieces that you can use that the marketing department has created for people to use. Now, I understand other people might use other systems, and that's all fine and dandy. But if you use something that has an automated system, it's probably created by an American company, and it's probably not CASL compliant. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that everything that we've made is, not going to get you in any trouble. Okay, so what else is great about these is that if you do nothing, and I'm not going to encourage you to do nothing, but if you do nothing, you're still going to have over 90% of the outreach going to your leads because it's all automated by RLP Sphere. Okay, so here's kind of a general overview of what goes on in the campaign, a typical campaign for new online leads. And I don't know if you can see in here, but the things in italics, okay, on day one, you have to make a phone call. We can't make the system do that for you, not quite yet. Someday, maybe. And you're going to do a custom email in response to their specific question. So anyways, my point is, in this whole 6 months of 20 plus touches, there's only 5 things for you to do, okay? And most of them are in day 1, day 2, and then day 13. Everything else is the system doing it for you, okay?
That is unbelievable. That's exceptional. It really is.
It's really cool. And then what's extra amazing is then once somebody replies, okay, so if Damon, my lead, replies to one of these messages, the automated messages stop. The campaign is removed. And my lead is now considered an active lead because he's engaging with me now. All that's done for you. You don't have to do anything. And, I spoke about CASL compliance. You'll know at day 179, the CASL consent is removed because according to the Canada anti-spam legislation, you have 6 months to market to an online lead after they made an inquiry. Okay, so what we do is if that person never replies to any of these messages at 6 months, the consent's removed, they're automatically archived, they're still in your system, but there's a little note on them saying, they were unresponsive and have been archived, okay? Because they might come back a year later and then you'll see them again, okay? All right, so I need a drink. Now you will see if you go into RLP Sphere right now, okay, you should see your commercial smart campaigns. So we created 4 of them for you. And what you do is in Sphere, you click on the marketing tab, then you select smart campaigns and you type the word commercial here in this little search area. And you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now you may be asking, why are there 4? So these are for listing leads, and there's 2 for your designated leads, 2 for your distributed. 1 for each lead type is email only if the person omits a telephone number, and then 1 for each lead type is a mix of emails and text messages if the person includes a telephone number. Okay. Yeah, so you will find them in here. Okay. Now you will know when you go in and look at them, they're actually under status, they're going to be gray because we didn't turn them on. Okay. They're not turned on. I want you to go in and preview the content so you're familiar, and then flip these guys on. Once they're flipped on, they'll start doing the work for you. Okay. So you don't need to go and preview right this second because I have a few examples right here. of some of the messages that they will receive. So here's the immediate email your lead will receive. It comes with an email only. And if they include a phone number, it's going to be pretty much the same, but in a text form. So, hi, Bill. Thanks for your inquiry on the Royal LePage commercial website. It will take me a couple minutes to make sure you get the right information. I'll send you an email with detailed listing information soon. Do you prefer email, text, or a phone call? You can call me on my number below or reply to this email with your number if you want to text or talk on the phone. If you prefer email, I'm okay with that too. Just let me know. Sincerely, Stephanie Gelman, and my number. Now, you didn't do anything. The system did this for you, which is really cool. It's going to pull in your email signature that you've input into Sphere. If you didn't make one in Sphere, don't panic, because as long as your name and your contact information is in your profile on the RLP network, it will use that as a substitute signature if you haven't created a custom one in Sphere, okay? So a couple of key things in this message. So for those of you who are maybe using other systems, okay, and you're thinking, I wonder if mine says the right thing. Always tell people where they completed a form, because believe it or not, sometimes people forget they filled out a form, or if they filled them out on multiple sites, right? You need to remind them which site. But the most important part is it lets them know that their message has been received and that I'll be in touch with them soon. Because remember, people's need for immediate satisfaction. Okay, so here's some of the other automated messages that your lead can receive throughout the campaign. Hi, Bill. I've been trying to reach you. Are you still looking to purchase a commercial property? Hi, Bill. Just checking to see if you'd like to view any of the commercial properties I've sent you. Hi, Bill. It's been a while since you reached out to look at commercial properties. Do you have a second to chat? Okay, so remember that this campaign, it's designed to elicit a response from your leads. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get Bill to answer. And once Bill replies to these messages, like I said before, the campaign's automatically removed, the status is updated, and then you're going to work your sales magic, okay? And then you're going to actually interact with your lead, okay? So let's get into a little bit, some tips and some tricks to maximize your chances of further interacting with your leads through genuine engagement. Okay, because we know that engagement is your goal. And we also know, and I said it before, not all of your leads will actually answer your email or phone call or text. Okay, but if they do, we need to have the right attitude. And the attitude on your first contact will help reinforce that you are there to help them make an informed decision. Okay, so always be conversational and curious. Give people a chance to respond, and make sure your next round of content and questions takes that response into consideration. Ask open-ended questions. This is a great way to find out about people without being salesy. And all of your communications with a call to action and or a question to keep the conversation going. So, for example, the difference between finishing an email with a closed sentence, the taxes are $15,000 a year, versus an open sentence, the taxes are $15,000 a year. Does this fit your budget? Okay. When you end with a question, you're inviting a conversation as opposed to just making a statement. So do your best to always end your communications with your leads with a question. All right. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. We're getting close to the end. We're getting now to statistics, okay? Fun times talking about numbers. So we know the basics of who online leads are, right? So generally a little further from transacting, and what they need. fast replies, persistent outreach, and valuable information. And then we know that we can close more of them by using automated systems. So let's talk some numbers, some statistics. When flipping a coin, I have a 50% chance of getting heads and a 50% chance of getting tails. Does that mean if I do 2 flips, I'm guaranteed 1 head and 1 tails? Of course not. We all know that. But we know that the more flips I do, the more my results balance out, and the more likely it is that I'll have flipped 50% heads and 50% tails. Okay? So similarly, when working online leads, well-managed leads can be expected to close around 4 to 6% or higher. But that does not mean that your first 4 or 6 leads will close. It could mean that you need to get a lot of leads to get enough to have a statistical chance at 1, even if you do everything right. Okay? Because most of your leads will not close. You need to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince.
Great.
And remember that when sticking with best practices, you will have success with online leads. It may not happen overnight, but persistence will pay off. By using the smart campaigns and RLP sphere, you will be able to reply quickly to your leads and be persistent with outreach attempts with very little effort on your part, because as I said, over 90% of it is automated. Okay, so are we excited, right? You should be excited. This is like coming up soon, right? Next Monday, April 3rd is the launch date. So we've got a little list of things that you should do to make sure that you're all set, okay? I talked a bit about the profile and how extremely important that is, okay? And as a reminder, it's going to appear in 2 places, roylepage.ca and roylepagecommercial.com. And anecdotally speaking, I have heard that these are the best leads. I know of one office that closes 24, it was either 24 or 27% of their designated contact leads, because these are people looking for you. These are people who come in and they say, I need a commercial agent who works in Brampton, who speaks, I don't know, Filipino. And if that's you, they're going to find you on the site. Okay, so make sure your profile's up to date, all your specialties, second languages, everything you do. You can find it on the RLP network. When you log in, it'll say welcome, and then it'll say your name. Okay, so, So yeah, so just click on your name and you can access your profile. And if you don't know how to do it, if you need a hand, you just reach out to our customer care team. I'll put their number up at the end. Okay, so you're going to get your profile finished if you haven't already. Next, if you're interested in using Sphere, if you're interested in saving a lot of effort and using everything that we've talked about today, you probably want to do some training if you haven't done it yet. So there's a lot of training about RLP Sphere that you can find on the RLP network, okay? Our Learning Services Department hosts live training on a very regular basis. There's one called the RLP Sphere Launchpad. That's kind of get you started with the basics. And then there's another one called the RLP Sphere Training Circuit. And what that one is a 12-week program that are kind of 30-minute short mini sessions about specific topics. So you can find the sign-up links for those on the RLP network. Okay. And then lastly, like I said, you want to preview and activate the smart campaigns created for your commercial listing leads. You're going to find them in Sphere under Marketing, Smart Campaigns, search for commercial, and then you will slide them to red under status. I'm going to throw up the contact information, and I see that there's a question in the chat that we can get to. And if anyone else has other questions, like throw them in the chat now. I see that Terry asked, will the leads be sent to agents directly or to the brokers for distribution? So Terry, they will be sent to the agents directly via the smart lead system. Okay, so the brokers, they have the ability to see who's receiving which leads, but they will not be, what's the word? They will not be customizing the routing. The leads will be going, the commercial leads will be going to commercial agents only. Yeah, and they'll be going to you directly via the smart lead system, either text and email, like I showed you guys at the start. Yeah, so I see a really long one in here. It'll take me just a second to read that one. I want to point out to everyone here some important contact numbers and information on this page. So customer care, they're here to help you, right, with any of your tech needs. Learning services is to help you with your training needs. Okay, you can reach out to Damon if you want to talk to him about the commercial program. And if you want to talk to me about the smart leads, you can shoot me an email too. Now let's see all of these questions here. Okay. I find that most leads do convert to a property match, not the one advertised, but hopefully you will have a match. Not all closed. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think that's similar to what I was saying before about how in the residential ones we see, you know, people will ask about 123 Main Street, but they're probably not going to buy that. But you know what they're interested in. So I think that's what Steve's saying here. Not all closed, but many leads lead to a related sale at some point. Absolutely. They would not be reaching out to us if they have no interest. It is up to us to find the right property or keep them in communication until I find one. Amen to that, Steve. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, we have another question here. Will a residential and commercial realtor get leads, or only commercial realtor will get? So only the commercial member agents will be the recipients of the commercial distributed leads. Okay, I think that's what you're asking, Raj. Yeah, perfect. So Raj, you're residential and commercial. Okay, that's a great question. So as we know, Smart Leads is a program that's, though we are using it to disperse our commercial leads, it's really a program that's run at the brokerage level. Okay. And at the brokerage level, Raj, you're going to have to reach out to your manager and ask about getting in the residential flow as well. Okay. So what we're doing here is, by default, everyone who's commercial is going to get commercial leads. If you're someone who wants to also receive residential leads, or maybe you're currently already receiving residential leads and you want to make sure that you'll still be getting them, you're just going to have to speak to your manager, because there's, I think, about 300 offices in this country. So it's really kind of run at a brokerage level. Okay. Christina asked, will this work in Quebec too? Are the automatic emails to go out in French and English? Oh, you know, Christina, that's a great question. So we have created some campaigns en français for a Quebec audience, and those would be ones that would be coming from royallepage.ca. Not to get too technical, but it does require some coding for us to distinguish the language in which the lead is submitting a form for us to create the corresponding French campaign to make sure the right one gets applied. So long story short, we haven't made a commercial one for our French people yet, but I see that this is something we should probably do sooner rather than later. I think we were just doing some tweaks to the French side of the commercial site.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. Michael is asking, is there a way to verify that the lead is not working with another realtor? before the lead is sent to us? Yeah, absolutely, Michael. I'm happy you asked that question. So on all of the DDF listings, okay, and these are the ones that we call the distributed listing leads, we ask in the form, are you working with an agent? And should they indicate no, then they are able to submit a lead form. If they indicate yes, they're working with a realtor, our form kind of disappears. And what they have is a different form that they can use to forward basically a link to that listing to their agent. So they cannot become a distributed lead if they are working with another realtor. Well, if they indicate that they're working with another realtor, we can't unfortunately control user behavior. Do you receive a record of the form? No, because as I said, Michael, the form, and you can actually just have a look at the website yourself, okay, and find a DDF listing, so one that's not a Roy LePage, and just click on it and say, yes, I do have an agent. You'll see it just kind of disappears. We don't even do anything with that. It's just the thing that they send over. So our system has built into it, we'll only accept them if they say, yes, I'm not working with someone. Yeah. Now we don't ask them that on your listings, okay, on the designated ones, because it's okay if they have that. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, good. I guess
With a
we've
lot of questions. Well done, Stephanie. You fired all that off. Great question.
yeah, it's a
Even
good group.
some feedback and some comments there from some of them. So some of these will even take away just thinking offhand here, and some of the comments about email addresses and spam and residential leads and commercial leads. So this is great. I mean, we'll take some of this away and make sure that it continues to improve as we do with the website.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we do in the background to prevent spams. So you guys are in really good hands with us. That being said, if anything ever happens, you just reach out to customer care. If you find someone that seems dubious, you just send over an example to customer care and they can deal with that because they have your back. Okay, so I guess that's it for today, guys. We're going to wrap this up. I will put this on my YouTube channel. Okay, so for those of you who have not looked at it, we have a Smart Leads YouTube channel. It's where all my videos live. I highly recommend that you check them out. See some good past webinars. Specifically, you may be interested to see ones that I've done. I've done a few Q&As with agents. And I find that those ones are usually the most fun because, who wants to hear me talk all day? I know I don't. So have a look at that. Like I said, you'll get a link. Also summarize your little to-do list that I presented at the end. Okay, so I'll throw that in the email so you remember what your homework is for this weekend. What is the name of the YouTube channel? It's just called Smart Leads. Yeah.
Well, if you have it, or if Steph, if you see it there, just throw it in the chat. Maybe we can put
that
it.
would be super. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll continue to make sure that we continue the education process. It'll be a learning process for most of us. On the commercial side specifically, those that are involved on the residential side may have more familiarity with it. But we will continue to send out. There'll be updates constantly in my commercial communique that Steph sends out. We'll send out ad hoc emails, and of course, if we can impose on you and you're so kind, you maybe down the road another webinar going over this.
Absolutely.